We were invited to sing with the Tabernacle Choir. Do you want to talk about your most embarrassing moment?
Hello, Saints. My name is Jeff. I am a pastor in Utah exploring everything I can about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I'm joined in this video by my amazing, awesome, talented wife, Joy.
Hello.
And she's talented for a lot of different reasons, but one of which is she's a violinist, she's a musician, I'm a musician, so it made it really exciting when we recently received a really cool invitation.
We were invited to sing with the Tabernacle Choir at a rehearsal.
At a rehearsal. True, yeah.
Not at a performance.
It was exciting for us because both of us having a background in music, there were a lot of curiosities around it. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second, but here's how the day unfolded. So I know you've been in the Tabernacle before, but what were some of your first impressions as you walked in and saw the Tabernacle for the first time?
The ceiling is really high and grand and kind of like dome-shaped. And then when you look up on stage, it's like gorgeous pipes everywhere. It's grand, but it's also kind of quaint.
And normally when we walk into larger buildings that are from a church setting, they're either going to be like a very historic, almost cathedral type of feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a Catholic church.
Right. Or in larger church buildings in our context, they're like super modern, almost commercial, like mega church buildings. Mm-hmm. It was very 19th century. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool because they took us right up on stage after taking in the room, and we were able to meet one of the main organists for the Tabernacle Choir, and he did an organ demonstration for us.
He was amazing.
What went through your mind as you saw him playing it?
What went through my mind is actually what I said to him. I think that he probably has like 14 different brains in order to be able to play that instrument, because he has like both his feet going, both his hands going. There's like knobs everywhere. He's playing like 7 different layers of keyboard. It's mind-boggling to me, but it is very impressive to watch.
Yeah, and not only was his performance impressive, but the way that the sound filled the room was really impressive. Because it was really cool. There were a couple points where he held out the last note of one of the songs, and when he let go, you can just hear it echoing for like 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow. And you actually had the opportunity to sit down and play the organ.
So did you.
I did. Do you have permission to do this?
Me?
Ooh, you improvising? What key are you in? So, what did it feel like when you were playing the organ? What did you? I felt a little overwhelmed.
It's a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, I can pluck a few notes on a piano, but I just didn't know what was going to happen when I'm like doing things with my feet and pulling certain knobs and pressing buttons, and it was a little scary.
And we had a little bit of an audience from the people that were giving us a tour, and there were just regular people coming in from off the street on tours. So yeah, it was a little bit intimidating. I was actually able to sit down and have a conversation with the organist and to pick his brain a little bit about his involvement and his role in being a part of this Latter-day Saint institution. Okay, so I'm here with Richard Elliott. He is the principal organist. You already told me like just a second ago, but principal organist for the Tabernacle Choir.
That's right.
And how long have you been in that role?
I've been one of the full-time organists for 33 years, since 1991, and then when John Longhurst retired in 2007, I became the principal organist then.
Yeah. So was that somewhat of a dream come true to be able to step into that role?
Well, definitely being an organist here has been a dream come true. There's never a dull moment. You play so many different kinds of music. You play with this amazing choir and this amazing organ, and we have several other organs that are wonderful instruments too. So in that respect, it's a dream job.
Tell me a little bit about the organ.
It's the 10th largest pipe organ in the United States and about the 16th largest in the world. But to us, what makes it special is the quality of the workmanship, the sounds, and the room itself really makes a big difference. And we still have some pipe work and the case work from the original Pioneer organ of 1867, and we're glad that that's still here.
Yeah. How many pipes are there?
11,623 pipes.
Okay.
So that's a lot of tuning
But
to
who's
do.
counting, right? What are some of your favorite hymns?
I love so many hymns. I was raised a Lutheran, so I've always loved "The Mighty Fortress Is Our God," with the text by Martin Luther. In our current hymnal, "Come, Come, Ye Saints" is always a favorite, just because it's associated with the church, and I associate it with many people I know and love who have ancestry who came across the plains and everything. One of my favorites is called "If You Could Hide a Kolob," which is a kind of an unusual sounding hymn. It's associated with the music for King's Fold, which is an English kind of folk hymn that Ralph Vaughan Williams brought to the forefront. But it's, to me, the text of that is, it encapsulates the whole plan of salvation, the eternal nature of us as spirit children of our Heavenly Father. And so it's a transcendent text and beautiful music to go along with it.
So being that you have a background in Protestantism, can I tell you some of my favorite hymns? I'm curious to know if you know them.
Sure, yeah.
Rock of Ages?
Of course, yeah. In fact, I have a story about that. My great-grandfather was deaf from age 3 onward, and he founded the first Methodist church in Baltimore for the deaf, and his favorite hymn to do sign language to was Rock of Ages, and he also loved Jesus, Savior, Pilot Me. So I wrote a piece combining those two hymn tunes together.
Oh, beautiful. That's amazing. It Is Well With My Soul?
Yeah. I didn't know that one, as I'd heard it a few times over the years, and then the Tabernacle Choir featured it in their Christmas concerts about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and had shared the story of the writing of those words.
And then, of course, How Great Thou Art.
Yeah, that's a favorite, and we just had that in our last general conference, and I wrote a modified accompaniment for that.
Oh, beautiful. And, my background is a little bit more... I grew up in a more Pentecostal church, so a lot of the hymns we did were the old-time gospel hymns.
Yeah.
So there's Power in the Blood, Old Rugged Cross,
Yeah.
What a Friend We Have in Jesus, those types of things.
Yeah. I play a setting of that, What a Friend We Have in Jesus, and that's in our hymn book, but with a different set of words. So it's Israel, Israel, God is calling, but the hymn tune itself is called Dennis. At least it's the one that da 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 da.
Yeah, that's it. So can you play something for us?
Sure. Yeah. You want to hear Amazing Grace? I don't know.
Would love to.
So I'll start out with a little bagpipe kind of sound. And
okay. So after that awesome conversation and the awesome demonstration
By me.
by Joy on the organ, they took us on a tour of the building, but it wasn't just any tour. We then met with Paul.
Yeah, I call him Paul Pipes.
Paul Pipes, that's not his last name.
Because that is not his last name. But if you go there and ask for Paul Pipes, I bet they would know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because he works on the pipes.
Super kind guy. He took us off the stage into a little workshop office area where you could see they repair things. And then up these stairs, pretty much a ladder, into a trapdoor.
Yeah.
And we were behind the stage amongst all of the pipes.
That was super cool.
It was amazing. And he was showing us all the different ways that they installed it and repair it and how they function mechanically and electrically and fiber optically whenever they're playing the organ. And it's all from this one unit, this panel that the organist is sitting at, and it controls this giant room, and just so much history represented in almost each and every pipe, because there are pipes from just different eras and generations of this organ.
Well, and I didn't know before we went there, when you're looking at the stage, that not all the pipes that you see actually function. And also, I thought it was really interesting that there's some gold foiled pipes, but they're actually made of wood.
And as if going behind the scenes and seeing the mechanics of the organ and the pipes wasn't enough, he then asked if we wanted to go up into the rafters of the tabernacle. So he took us up across the balcony, down a trapdoor, up a ladder, and before we knew it, we were literally above the ceiling in the tabernacle.
Well, and part of the reason that was cool is because he was showing us actual pictures of the architect and the architecture of the building and how it's like arched.
Yeah.
And so we were actually up in this arched space.
Yeah, and the rafters were sort of mimicking the engineering that goes into bridges. In fact, the person that engineered these rafters was somebody who was building bridges at the time in the valley, and I think Brigham Young asked, hey, can you do that for roof? And the guy was like, sure. So as we're going up there and we're seeing all this wood and the timber and the beams and the nails, this is like 19th century time capsule.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Just being in the tabernacle was a pretty neat experience, just not from a historic standpoint, but even just seeing how important it was to them from a faith standpoint.
Yeah.
So then later on that evening, we went over to the conference center, and that is an amazing building. We walked in, were greeted by the individuals that made this whole thing possible. And when you walk into that room in the conference center, it never fails, like every time. It's a pretty magnificent room.
Yeah, I don't think I've been in a larger space.
Yeah, at least a space that is not in the round, like a stadium or an arena, but you've got this giant stage and then all of these seats.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of people. And the choir was already up there rehearsing with the orchestra. I think they had already started the rehearsal. And then some ushers came down and they escorted us up. And we had to go up on different sides because the women sit on one side and the men sit on another. And then once we got up there, I sat between two baritones because that's what I typically sing. And they were super accommodating, super nice. I don't know what it was like for you, but you were sitting a little bit further in with the altos.
Yes.
Right?
Everyone that I walked past, every single person, I didn't even have time to like probably look or acknowledge everyone. They're like, welcome, 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 welcome. Like everyone was very welcoming.
Yeah. And thankfully, since you and I are musicians, we can sight read. But they handed us the music and we were just part of the choir for the next hour and a half. So once they got you up on stage and you're sitting there, what was going through your mind?
Sing softly. Well, they knew what they were singing.
They knew what they were doing, yeah.
They had also warmed up. We didn't warm up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there were a couple high notes that I just didn't even try to hit.
Yeah.
But
did anybody around you give you tips or try to coach you a little bit?
Yeah, the lady to my right was helping me the whole time, like making sure I knew where I was. There was maybe one time I showed her where she was. Whereas it was like a newer song or they had changed something or whatever. But no, she was super, super helpful and kind, yeah.
But it was really fun, and just to be surrounded by so many talented musicians and the beautiful music, and the orchestra was just fantastic. You can tell they're just top-notch musicians. The conductor was super focused and on task and was very clear in how he communicated. You can just tell that not only are the individuals really passionate and committed to what they're doing, but you get the sense that it's somewhat of a community.
Yeah.
And they take very seriously and very much value being a part of that institution, the Tabernacle Choir.
Well, and technically, in order to be a part of the choir, you have to be a Latter-day Saint.
That's true.
And so it feels like a privilege to be able to kind of enter into that world and know what that is like for them, because that's not necessarily something we can just go experience. So.
Yeah. I will say after the fact, one thing that I was processing quite a bit is how there is such a distinction. There's a difference in the musical traditions that exist within our respective contexts. You saw this a little bit in the video we made with Kurt Franken where he went to church with us. There's just such a wide range of musical traditions that even blend between different denominations.
Right.
And you could probably slice it a bunch of different ways, but there are more historic churches that do the hymns with pianos and organs and choirs, although you more often will have traditions where you'll have sort of a worship band or a worship team, and they're doing some of the songs that you'll hear on K-Love, or in St. Louis it's called Joy FM. But then there are other churches that we've been a part of that it's actually incredibly almost concert-esque, where it's very loud, it's very intense.
The grandiosity is less about maybe the like cool room, and there's a lot, not always, but there can be like lighting effects and fog machines and different things that kind of like try to bring that atmosphere like alive.
Yeah. And whereas Latter-day Saints, oftentimes, and I can already see it right now in the comment section of this video, they're going to say, yeah, we don't like that because we like a more
sacred.
Yeah, we want a more reverent worship setting or musical setting, which is totally fine.
Right.
But I will say that in all of the different ways that music is expressed in the Protestant tradition, no matter what type of music is being played, whether it's intense or whether it's more reverent, I have felt and been able to enter into God's presence and to worship in some really deep and profound ways, where it's not so much about the musical style or the room or the effects as much as it is about the posture of our hearts as we enter into that space. And it's something that we actually have a lot of experience with, because for over 15 years, even prior to being a pastor, I led the worship team at the church that we were at. You were part of that team. You sang and played violin. And we would even do like such a wide range of songs. We would do, the current hits by Chris Tomlin and Phil Wickham. We would also do old hymns.
Yeah.
Some of them were like gospel hymns, which you don't hear a lot in Latter-day Saint hymn books, but like there's Power in the Blood, Victory in Jesus, The Old Rugged Cross.
Rock of Ages.
Yeah, but then you've got the more traditional hymns like Rock of Ages and How Great Thou Art.
Come Thou Fount.
Come Thou Fount, right.
Do you want to talk about your most embarrassing moment?
So evidently the lyrics of Hark the Herald Angels Sing fit perfectly with the melody of Angels We Have Heard on High.
Let's hear it.
So hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King, peace on earth, goodwill to men. And then I, at that point, realized, oh no, I've made a mistake.
I mean, embarrassing, or you just started something.
I mean,
There's now a new Christmas song.
Yeah, there you go. So I had to like time out, pause everything. We had to stop the band and be like, let's just start this over again. So
I mean, at least it worked.
It did work.
Yeah.
Until you hit the chorus and it was more of a train wreck at that point. Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think if we had a Christian, would it be called Tabernacle Choir?
Okay.
Would be as welcoming to a Latter-day Saint to come and be a part of their choir, even if just for a rehearsal night?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think it would depend on the tradition, but the one thing that is unique about the Tabernacle Choir within the Latter-day Saint context is that it's one large community, whereas the Protestant church is made up of hundreds of thousands of different members, part of all of these different denominations and traditions. And though we all believe we're on the same team, you have different musical groups tied to those traditions and denominations. You've got the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, which was really big years ago, and I'm sure is still popular, but people don't talk about them as much as they used to. Now you more have certain bands like Maverick City Music or Bethel, and those aren't necessarily large ensembles that you would necessarily invite people to be a part of. But I don't know if there's an apples to apples there. But when it comes to just the heart of inviting someone to be a part of it, to at least experience it, there might be some traditions that wouldn't do it, but I would like to think that most would be open to inviting a Latter-day Saint to be a part of that and to see what it's like. Yeah, all of this seemed like sort of a cool culmination of all of these encounters we've been having recently with the Latter-day Saint music tradition, because just last weekend we went to hear the Millennial Choir and Orchestra in downtown Salt Lake City, which was amazing.
It was impressive.
And we've become really good friends with Conlon and Rachel Bonner, and obviously Conlon is of the Bonner family. They're great musicians.
All the blessings that he promised to his children who believe,
And we met them on a Go and Do travel cruise that we just were on with Nathan Pacheco and his wife.
Which I believe that Nathan has actually performed before with the Tabernacle Choir, but I will say I did recently see on his Instagram that he was wanting to one day perform Come Thou Fount with the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. And I was like, maybe we should just put that out there for the world to know. We're just rooting for you, Nathan.
We're just pointing to his social media posts. That's all. We're not hinting at anything.
I mean, he's kind of a good singer,
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I think that could be a good fit.
We got you, brother. We got you. Side note, if you're interested in going on a Go and Do Travel Momentum 25 cruise, we're going to be there. And if you sign up with the code Jeff, not only do you get $50 off per person, but you will be invited to a special, exclusive presentation done by me and my wife, Joy.
Oh, I'm doing it too.
You are on these cruises. So you should go to goanddotravel.com, sign up for one of the Momentum 25 cruises.
This past year, we actually recently went on the West Coast cruise, and it was incredible.
It was a great experience. You should check it out. So we want to say a very special thank you to Chip and your wife, Di, for making all of this possible. You were incredible. We also want to thank Kelly and Lindsay and the entire Tabernacle Choir marketing team, and Mr. Elliott for doing the organ demonstration, and Paul for showing us the rafters and the pipes of the tabernacle. And all the individuals at the conference center that received us were so welcoming, took care of a couple of our kids while we were experiencing everything. You were all not only great hosts, but you are really fun to get to know. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, support us on Patreon if you'd like, and keep coming back for more videos where we're going to continue on this journey to explore by being a part of awesome experiences just like this. So until next time, we'll see you later, Saints.